It's been quite intense so far. I feel like for me personally, it's been quite kind of payback for all of the experimental formats that we're doing with the students, kind of working in big groups and doing big discursive workshops and things. So for me, it's been quite nice to be on the kind of the other side of that.
The methodology is strict, but the world you are inventing through this methodology is completely free.
I really like this pushing out of my comfort zone, because it makes me think of other things, and you're suddenly exposed to so many ideas that now I go home and I have to digest everything.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
What I felt is that it's really good people. You know, if you work together, you feel that everybody works participatory or process-driven, that everybody kind of cares where the process is going.
Historically, the mapping's primarily been used as kind of an expert tool by governments or kind of institutions that have power and expertise. I think now there's this interesting moment where mapping is being used from the bottom up, as in a similar way, as a tool to access power, to build community power from the grassroots.
Mapping is a tool, but also it's a way of understanding things. What I found interesting is that the word itself is not still defined yet. And it appeared to me that wherever you come from, you define mapping in a different way.
And this kind of workshop is really extremely good and extremely rich to understand that there is other understanding of mapping. So I have to open wide my ears to absorb this new way of considering what mapping is.
You need another perspective to kind of clash in order to understand things better.
We all are not really interested in producing a map as an outcome, but it's more about this process of mapping. I'm quite happy that most of us embrace that openness and actually been kind of happy to not really think of this final product in the end, but be just part of the process.
The most interesting thing about mapping for me is like as a collaborative process, like as more of a means of kind of bringing people together and producing something together.
One of the biggest problems we have is the kind of metaphors or the frames that we carry around, I think, in our mental models. And I feel like when you visualize that, when you see the kind of frame that you use to frame something, and that itself becomes a reflection exercise, because that will kind of help to create some kind of behavioral change.
How we discussed the idea of climate change and how it's tied up to intersectionality and how it's tied up to the social injustice is what became more clear to my mind through the symposium. I think before that I didn't digest the connections that much.
Climate change is not a singular issue. And to really confront the root causes of climate change, we really have to start developing different relationships.
It's about examining multiple forms of exclusion that people experience simultaneously, while being attentive to what Kimberly Crenshaw calls the urgency of intersectionality.
I want to think about intersectionality as a way to see these connections on a map, as a way to mobilize against forces of domination, oppression, violence, and exploitation that are both social and environmental.